Mhm. So, hello everyone, and thank you for joining another Education USA event. As you all know, Education USA offers accurate, comprehensive, and current information about opportunities to study at accredited universities and colleges in the United States. So if you need our assistance, please contact the nearest Education USA Advising Center. Our contact details can be found on the official Education USA web page. And this time we have three guest speakers from Michigan. These are Tara, Christopher, and Ling. They come from Kalamazoo Valley Community College, Kelvin University, and Central Michigan University. Please write your questions into the chat box if you have such. You will be able to ask questions at the end of the session as well. So be active, use this wonderful opportunity to learn everything about the state Michigan, about these wonderful higher education institutions. So colleagues, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much for that introduction. And hello to everybody from the state of Michigan. We are going to talk a little bit just about the state and then get right into our schools, which represent a community college, a private university, and a public university. And I do just want to encourage all of you to continue to work with Education USA. All of our schools highly suggest that you be working with these offices. They're so valuable to you, not only through the assistance of applying, but through the assistance of preparing to come to the United States as well. So please continue to work with them. They're absolutely wonderful offices and people. So why study in the state of Michigan? All of the schools that I mentioned a little bit ago all are within the state of Michigan. And first of all, the state of Michigan is in the top 10 destinations in the United States to come and study. And it's ranked as a top state of excellence in training, educational services, and student experiences. And you're going to hear about that in all of our presentations today. There are a large range of institutions and universities within the state of Michigan, and there are over 31,000 international students that study in the state as well. We do have a very low cost of living for the United States. The cost of living in Michigan is one of the lowest out of all of the states, and so it makes your education very affordable. And there are many job opportunities. There are several companies that hold their world headquarters in the state of Michigan. And that gives you a lot of opportunities to have internships and to have the opportunity to work after you have graduated as well. So we just wanted to give a little recap of why you should choose to study in the state of Michigan. And at this time, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Chris, from Kalamazoo Valley Community College.
Thank you so much, Tara. Let me, there we go. Am I showing you what I want to be? Yeah, beautiful. I wish it was easier to tell on Zoom. Thank you, Tara, and thank you for having us today. As Tara said, Education USA is just a fantastic resource, especially in your region. And this is a really good opportunity to talk about the state of Michigan through actually 3 different lenses, as Tara mentioned. So I represent a community college, and I'm going to talk to you in some way simply about how that works in the United States, because that is new to some of our students. I have plenty of highlights about us as a school individually, but community colleges in the United States focus on undergraduate education, and specifically associate degrees, which are 2-year degrees, and transfer programs. So students that will come to us, this is what's often referred to as 2+2, might do 2 years of general education or 100 and 200 level education with us, and then transfer out to one of our partners. We have several transfer agreements, including the two universities that are joining me on the call today. And so those are really the two categories, right? Those workforce ready short-term degree programs, and then the transfer possibilities. Students do not go to community college instead of a four-year university. All of the work at a community college, if done within a advised transfer program, can transfer on to the bachelor's degree and be about halfway done with that degree. So it's not an either or. This is actually a path toward a bachelor's degree. And then of course, postgraduate education, if you choose to pursue that. So I want to quickly introduce you to Elizabeth and Yatunde on the slide here. These are two of our students who graduated in nursing. And one of the great things about the state of Michigan that you may have heard of are the Great Lakes. So it looks like we're at the ocean. We're actually at Lake Michigan, which is about a 45-minute drive from Kalamazoo. And just a warning, if you ever start taking pictures of these two, you need like 2 hours because they won't stop. They love it. So here I am. If you walk away with one piece of information, know how to get a hold of me. Happy to answer your questions, whether they're about Kalamazoo Valley, the region, the state, the U.S. education system. I love what I do. So we can certainly chat further as we go. I manage the office here that serves our international students. And over the course of the year, that'll be about 150 international students from 30 to 35 countries. So here we are. You'll see us on the map there. Interesting fact about Kalamazoo, exactly the same distance between Detroit and Chicago. So you may have heard of one of those two larger cities. That's about a 2-hour commute to either one of those. Again, about 45 minutes from Lake Michigan. One of the, I think, great things about the region is we actually have 3 institutions of higher education. We have a small liberal arts school. We have a large 4-year in town as well. And so between all of that, there are over 2,000 international students in our community. And I think that's really helpful because one of the things we try to do is have students immersed in our community and going out and doing things in Kalamazoo. And there's a lot of other people experiencing the same thing, culturally, educationally, and otherwise. And so we get all 4 seasons, which I love. So, you know, you'll see shots of sledding in the snow there too. We're getting ready to do our holiday celebration for our international students. So there's ways to enjoy really every time of year. There are a couple of reasons Kalamazoo may have come up on your news feed. If you use Yahoo or some other similar services, this has appeared in several places. Kalamazoo was named the coolest city in the United States with a low cost of living. Tara mentioned earlier that the state of Michigan has a relatively low cost of living within the United States, and Kalamazoo specifically is one of those communities that has a lot to offer in terms of education, in terms of employment, fine arts, things to do in general, but again, with a relatively low cost of living. So we thought that was really important to celebrate. And then of course, the Pfizer vaccine is actually from Kalamazoo. This is a quick photo of President Biden actually spoke from Kalamazoo, Michigan to announce the release of that vaccine. So Pfizer Pharmaceuticals has a large presence here in the area. And again, one of the reasons that Kalamazoo might sound familiar to you. There are essentially 6 reasons that students would look at Kalamazoo as a good place to start their education. The first one is a very easy admission process. Okay, so you will hear from other schools for very good reason have selective admission requirements, right? They might have a certain GPA or standardized test score. We actually do not, right? Community colleges in the United States operate on an open enrollment basis. Now, we do not teach English as a second language at Kalamazoo Valley. So we do require English proficiency, and that might look like a 61 TOEFL score, 6.0 on the IELTS, or a 95 Duolingo score. But we do not require any ACT or SAT. We do not need you to have achieved a certain GPA. So one of the reasons that students might come to us is that what they really want to do is go to Kelvin or Central Michigan, but they need a little bit of time before they can improve their academic credentials in order to be admitted to those schools, or in some cases to qualify for scholarship from those schools. One of the other reasons is a lower cost. And we'll go into more detail on this, but Kalamazoo Valley has a much lower tuition than the average four-year university, just by the nature of the way community colleges are funded. I have a little bit of detail on that to share with you. Classes are relatively small. You will likely hear that from both of my colleagues today. I think we all operate on a relatively small class size, and I think that's important. So students receive that individual instruction. Our instructors are no less qualified than their peers at four-year universities, so you absolutely will receive qualified, credentialed instruction, and in many cases have a little more opportunity maybe to interact with our faculty. They do not have research assignments or other obligations outside of instruction. So that's really where our focus is. There are some really good ways for you to do some hands-on research at the upper level of your bachelor's degree. Again, we focus on those first couple of fundamental years. We transfer students out all over the United States. Our accreditation is such that really you can transfer to about 4,000 colleges and universities. We are also part of what's called the Michigan Transfer Agreement, which includes agreements with over 70 schools throughout the state of Michigan. And our campus life, there's a lot of fun stuff to do. Even now, we are able to reintroduce some of the student activities. Had a great Thanksgiving celebration. We had a Halloween party. In fact, Tara got to see my costume. So we're having fun. We're doing what we can within the safety protocols and still within, obviously, the spirit of public health, but making sure that students do feel engaged. I mentioned earlier quickly the 2+2 model. Again, 2 years at Kalamazoo Valley send you out to do 2 more years in a bachelor's degree program at a 4-year school, and then earn that bachelor's degree. So again, it's important to understand that students do not attend Kalamazoo Valley instead of earning a bachelor's degree. They actually do it as a critical part of earning that bachelor's degree. And the most common reason they'll do that is because of the tuition cost. So for those first 2 years, they're often able to save quite a bit of money. Our tuition is just over $8,000 US dollars per year. You'll see that public and private universities tend to cost more than that. So one of the things I encourage you to do is really look at what are you going to spend? What is your net cost? You might have a situation where we may not be offering as much scholarship, but our overall cost is less, or you might see a school that seems to have a high sticker price, but has a lot of funding that makes up the difference. So really make sure you focus on what are your costs after assistance. However, it's very common for a student to be offered a scholarship from a public university, for example, but still find they would pay less here without one or with a smaller one. So that's one of the things that will drive students toward our program. Don't worry, I will not read you this entire list of our programs, but you see how many we have to offer. Really good chance, whatever it is you plan to pursue, whether it's with us or ultimately with one of my colleagues' schools, there's a really good chance that we have some version of that in a way for you to start that program here at Kalamazoo Valley. We still, again, have student activities going on. We have 5 varsity sports. All of those athletic events, by the way, are free to our students, and they are happening in person with crowds right now. So we're getting back to that. And then again, student clubs and organizations, including the Global Student Union, which is a collection of international students and some domestic students. And we'll talk about those activities in just a moment. But very quickly want to talk to you about the admission process, which again is very simple. There's no fee for that process. The only things we need to collect are the things that any school needs to collect in order to issue the immigration documents that students need. So we need to get the proof of funding. Again, for us, we need that English proficiency and then a copy of the passport. I don't need to see transcripts. I don't need letters of recommendation or personal statements. Again, no academic minimum requirements for our students. And so those are all the things we need to collect. Very simple process. I mentioned earlier our Global Student Union. This is a fun picture. This happens to be from the previous year's Halloween party, which had to be virtual. We did it in person. I'm the Karate Kid on the top row. If you know who that is, we can be friends. But I encourage you to consider reaching out to me. You see the email address there, international@kvcc.edu. That organization is open to prospective students. So we often have students who join us virtually when we do our virtual activities, who have not committed yet to attending Kalamazoo Valley, but want to get to know some of our students or just see the fun we're having. And the other thing is that every Thursday morning, we have an open office hour. Who's scribbling on my PowerPoint here? What? Okay.
Yeah, someone is trying to paint. I don't know how to avoid this.
Okay.
Someone who is doing this, could you please stop it? Yeah, asking nicely.
Those opportunities are available for our students. So every Thursday morning, we do an open office hour for our prospective students who might have questions that they ask. So again, reach out to us with that. And I'll close with this contact information again. You can email me at international@kvcc.edu. Any questions at all, be happy to answer that for you. And I will go ahead and stop my share and turn it over to our next presenter.
And Christopher, I wanted also to ask about OPT.
Please.
Is it true that you can participate at OPT 2 times if you attend to the community college, and then if you continue to the 4-year college? Is it right?
That's a great question. And yes, so OPT stands for Optional Practical Training. It's an opportunity to remain in the United States and work for up to 12 months in the field in which a student has studied. And each level of education can allow 1 year of OPT, in some categories more than that. But at the community college level, the completion of an associate degree does allow for 12 months of employment through OPT. So a student who does 2 years of community college on their way to their bachelor's degree is actually able to take a break if they earn that credential after 2 years, do a year of OPT, then go on to their bachelor's degree and still have a year of eligibility left after they complete that. So it can actually provide more work opportunities for students who follow that path. Thanks for asking.
Okay. Thanks, Chris, for explaining Kalamazoo Valley Community College. And I do just want to add that both Central Michigan University and Kelvin University do work with Kalamazoo Valley Community College on transfers. So when you complete your degree at Kalamazoo Valley, you can also transfer into a bachelor program at Central Michigan University and Kelvin University. So we do partner with them. And we do have a close relationship with Chris, and we keep in touch on the transfer students and assist you very much through that process. So I am representing Kelvin University, which is a private liberal arts institution in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I think I skipped through my map. My map is backwards. Okay. we are also located in the Midwest of Michigan. And I tell you a little bit about Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids is one of the top 20 cities in the United States for job growth. We do have a population of about 1 million people in the greater metro area. We are a growing city of diversity and also becoming a hub for art. In the state of Michigan too, we have an international art prize competition that brings the city to life in art, literally. There could be live acts, there could be a Loch Ness monster in the river that goes through Grand Rapids. It's quite amazing to see. There are also a lot of internship possibilities within the state of Grand Rapids, or within the city of Grand Rapids too. It's not a state yet. It's growing, but it's not a state. We do have about 3,300 students at Kelvin. We represent 65 different countries, and we have about 13% of our student body is international. So that gives you a very diverse experience on campus and also within the classroom discussion. We believe in helping you to think very deeply at Kelvin. And some of the ways that we do this, as I mentioned, we are a liberal arts institution, and the difference between a liberal arts and like a public or a community college would be the range of classes that you can take. And we really want you to leave Kelvin not having a tunnel vision of your profession that you've chosen, but more be able to think outside of the box with that and really have a larger scope of thinking within your profession. We do offer 100+ academic options, and we do have a student to faculty ratio of 12:1. Our class sizes are also small, with an average of like 20 to 24 people in the classes. Our faculty are extremely involved at Kelvin. If you were to ask a current student what their favorite thing at Kelvin would be, most of the time they're going to say the faculty. And it's because the faculty really do take time to get to know you and to help you through your journey of learning and into your future profession. We do accept AP and IB classes, and more descriptions on those are on our website as well. One of the items that we want to also install in you as a student at Kelvin is to act justly. And we have many opportunities for you to get involved in the outside community through volunteer hours. And on average, each year, our students volunteer about 54,000 hours out into the community. It is part of the learning experience at Kelvin. And it really does help you network as well out into the community. We believe in living wholeheartedly. I absolutely love this photo because it shows students very excited. This is at a basketball game at one of our major rival games. And they're just very excited because I do believe we were winning that game. So I just love it because it shows great excitement. We do have a very active campus. We have about 80 student organizations, about 100 concerts and films. We have many locations to host concerts and many activities. We have a hotel on campus and a conference center, and Division I type facilities for basketball, swimming. We are a Division III school for athletics, but again, our facilities feel like a Division I school. Division III athletics, I do just want to kind of explain. Ling School is Division I and Division II in some sports, but at Division III, this means that we are unable to give athletic scholarships, but Ling can explain that in a little bit more detail as her school is Division II and Division I, which is when you start seeing the capability of getting athletic scholarships. But we do have many athletic teams and intramurals and club sports. We do have 7 residence halls and also living learning communities with each of those residence halls. So again, another great opportunity for you to get involved in different aspects on campus. We do offer a lot of services to students while on campus too. And this includes many things like academic tutoring, peer mentoring, just general tutoring. We have counseling services. We have a health facility on campus that is tied directly to the larger medical facilities in Grand Rapids too. And our Center for International Students will help you through the transition, not only on campus, but academically, and just help you adjust overall. So we do have many opportunities, as I mentioned, for you to get involved outside of campus, but then also network for future jobs. 100% of our students are engaged in some type of research each year, and we do have paid fellowships in the colleges of sciences and humanities. We have 11 centers and institutes for students to get involved in for internships. And 90% of our students have 1 to 2 internships during their time at Kelvin University. Our faculty, as I mentioned earlier, are very involved with students, are very connected outside of campus, and they do assist you with identifying appropriate jobs for you after you have graduated. We do have a very active career center, and they have an employment partnership program where they provide programming throughout the year where you can practice doing job interviews. They help you come in and build resumes. And this is employers that are coming on campus to actually assist you through these processes, not only our career center. We also have a LifeWorks program that helps you build your career portfolio throughout your 4 years or 2 years if you go to Kalamazoo Valley first. That helps you get set up for the process of trying to find a job after graduation. We help you through resume assistance and what does it look like to start applying for jobs, and just really helps you get set up during your time at Kelvin. And the Career Center helps not only current students, but also alumni. So they are always there to assist you in the job search. 100% of our international students do receive aid. Chris did a great job of kind of explaining how each of our schools work. And one thing that Ling and I did in a financial aid presentation is talk about cost versus aid. So it's always important to not just judge a school on how much it costs to attend, but also take a look at how much aid the school can provide to you. So as I mentioned at Kelvin, 100% of our international students do receive some type of aid. And that could be academic scholarships. It could be an automatic international student award. But we also offer need-based aid and donor-funded scholarships. Our average aid package at Kelvin is around $24,000 US, and we do offer about 1,200 flexible on-campus jobs, so students can be earning extra money while they are on campus as well. Part of the application process is that we do have a free application up until January 1, but even after January 1, I have a fee waiver code that I am more than happy to give to you so that you can apply for free after January 1. We do require high school transcripts. The ACT or SAT score is optional. If you have it and it's good, I would highly suggest that you submit it because it does help solidify your merit-based scholarships. A copy of your passport. Because we do have need-based aid, we do ask that you complete the request for aid form. We do not accept the CSS financial aid form because we do have our own Kelvin University request for aid. We do request that you submit your financial documents so that we can determine your need-based aid. There's an optional recommendation letter. Again, I could do another presentation on just recommendation letters alone, but they are pretty important to us. It is optional, but if you have one, it's great for you to submit one. And as Chris mentioned, with the SAT or ACT being optional, we do request an English proficiency score. We accept TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo. I want to talk very briefly about our Summer International Academy that happens during the month of July. We are currently accepting applications for this program. We do have an academic or language track, and it is designed for secondary or high school students. You can find more information about this on our website too. It's a great way to just experience a US college and have that on-campus experience. So again, you can apply for free up until January 1, but I have a fee waiver code that I give out like candy. So please ask for it if you missed that. I think we all have rolling admission policies, but we just have a different way of approaching the applications and dates on those and stuff. So make sure you pay attention to that. At this time, I will go ahead and just hand it off unless there's any immediate questions just for Kelvin. I see that there's questions in the chat box, but I would like to hand it off to my colleague Ling from Central Michigan University.
Thank you so much, Tara. And I'm going to try to see what I can get the slide going. This is what happens when you have multiple screens. Can you see my slide?
Yes, but not full screen.
Not the full screen?
Yes, not the full screen.
I think that might be the best that I can do.
It's okay. It's okay.
I hope it's okay. Well, it's not helping. So can you see the map of US?
Yes.
Okay. I apologize. Chris and Tara, they're just fancier. So apparently I can't get this whole slide thing going. Again, this is Lynn. I am the director for international and graduate recruitment at the Central Michigan University. I'm happy that Chris and Tara, two very good friends of mine, are able to join Central Michigan today to do the presentation because there are over 5,000 universities in the US. And I know for international students, it could be kind of confusing, right? Because a lot of times when they think of US, they think, oh, they are all the same, right? They are all the American universities. But today we have three wonderful but very different institutions here in Michigan. So Chris School is a public institution, but offers 2 years associate degree. And Tara's institution is a private institution, offer undergraduate and graduate degrees. So Central Michigan University, we are a comprehensive public institution in Michigan. So we're of course, very same because we're all the institutions in Michigan, but we're all very different as well. I'm sure you guys now, by now will know Michigan really well because this is the third time you've seen the map and you see the Mintons right here. And Chris School is down here and we're right here in the center. And Tara's institution is just an hour away right here. So Michigan, why study at Michigan? Well, if my computer works, I will show you. This is why, because we have great, 4 seasons. So Central Michigan University is located in Mount Pleasant, and there are no mountains here. But with the 4 great seasons, it's quite pleasant. And so now it should look like that. This morning we talk about it. It gets a little bit warm, but normally during Christmas time we should see snow. It's really looked like a winter wonderland. But my favorite actually is fall because that's when the leaves change the color, and that's when we're in the football season, and that's when students are back. So Tara did mention different schools offer the sports scholarship. So CMU, of course, we are Division I school, so we do offer great sports athletic scholarship. However, we get asked all the time, a lot of students will say, well, I'm a very good soccer player at my school. Can I, be offered an athletic scholarship? Normally, I will tell the students it's not very likely. Unless you are playing, at the national level, you probably wouldn't be recruited by a Division I school to have you to play for the official official team for the school. So if you are interested, if you think you're really a good athlete, please reach out and we'll be able to connect you with the coach. But unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to tell you, oh yeah, you can play basketball for us. So we have a team of coaches here to help us. So CMU is, as I mentioned, one of the top 100 biggest public institution in the U.S. So we offer, we actually have 7 colleges, but I didn't put the medical school, the College of Medicine here. It's because, it just like it sounds, it's a College of Medicine. So students who want to become a medical doctors will have to apply, and it's just for a graduate program. So among the 6 colleges, which comprise more than 200 majors for undergraduate and over 70 graduate programs. So I choose some of the majors here. just for your reference, but to see a whole complete, if I put 270 some programs there, they're going to get very, very small. But for a complete list, feel free to go to CMU's website, and if you have questions, just let us know. My computer just doesn't want to work today. So CMU, we have a gorgeous campus. And of course, we have over 20 residence halls right here. So if you are a high school student and want to come study at CMU, you are required to live on campus. But we do have over 20 wonderful residence halls for you to choose from. And each hall, there's a hall director. And they normally will put students that share the same interests on the same floor, and you'll be able to do some fun activities. You'll be able to kind of do movie night, or if you go to Chris's school for 2 years and then transfer to Central Michigan University, or if you go to Kelvin for undergraduate and then come to CMU for graduate programs, you are not required to live on campus. However, we do have residence halls for transfer student or for graduate student for you to choose from. And there are tons of things for you to do, either on campus or off campus. So we have culture events happen all the time. And as I mentioned, even though Mount Pleasant doesn't have a lot of mountains, but it's really quite pleasant because we have a Chippewa River run through CMU and Mount Pleasant. There are 7 parks here. Our students do take advantage of that. It's all walking distance, so a lot of times they will walk to those parks and do kayaking, or in the snow time do snow sledding. So Michigan is a great place, especially if you like outdoor activities. So you probably wonder, that sounds great, so how do I apply? It's fairly simple. To apply, you can just use the CMU's application, or if you're an undergraduate student, you can use Common App. And we do not require SAT or ACT for admission or for scholarship. And if you apply for graduate programs, make sure you reach out to us, because each program, has their own kind of requirement. But if you apply for undergraduate, pretty much you would just need to submit an application and a $40 application fee, and submit your transcripts along with TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. And if you do not have any of those tests, it is okay. You can still be admitted by CMU. You just go through our English pathway programs. And you can come and take an English test, and we'll be able to tell you, whether you need additional English or not. So as a public institution, our tuition is very affordable. So for undergraduate, the tuition is less than $19,000 if you do not have any scholarship. But as an international student here at CMU, over 90% of the students are here on scholarship. And if you have a 3.3 GPA based at 4.0, you will only have to pay a little bit over around $10,000 per year, which is super, super affordable. And for students who just have a 2.8 GPA, you still be awarded scholarship, but the amount will be a little bit, smaller than our president's award. But you don't need SAT or ACT to apply or be awarded. So if you are a graduate student, this is the tuition you're looking at. So if you're interested in engineering management, or if you're interested in computer science and you will, without a graduate assistantship, without any scholarship, you would only have to pay $15,000-ish per year. But if you're interested in MBA or MSIS, the tuition is only $13,000, because these two programs, they give special scholarship to all international students. And of course, we do have graduate assistantship. So if you are awarded a full graduate assistantship, congratulations, pretty much you're coming to CMU and study for free. As Chris mentioned, each school, if you are, it's not the school that offer you the OPT or CPT. It's pretty much if you are F1 international student study at any legit American institution, you will be eligible for OPT. So some of the majors, so they are STEM majors. That means not only you get this 1-year OPT, you could get another 2 years extension. So for students who study, let's say, MSIS, the information system, you could. And you will get one OPT after you complete at each level. So for example, if you study at the Chris institution, after your associate degree, you could be eligible for 1-year OPT. And then if you go to Kelvin, get a bachelor's, you'll be eligible for another year's OPT, unless it's a STEM major. And then if you come to CMU after, Kelvin's bachelor's degree, you come to study at CMU at the master's, and you will be eligible for another OPT. We can stay here all day just to talk about OPT. It's a very complicated, topic. But if you guys want to know more or have a question, please feel free to let us know. So that's pretty much a wrap up for me. And I'm sure, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Yeah, so we have several questions in the chat box. If you could check it and try to answer them.
I saw someone make the comment that Michigan is a beautiful state, and you are right. It is a gorgeous
Really
state.
is.
Yes.
And it's very unusual because we have several, they're called the Great Lakes, and they are great. And you cannot see the other side. It's like you're looking at an ocean, and we have waves that you can surf on. So it is absolutely a beautiful state. So there was a question early on about English, and all of our schools do require some proof of English proficiency. Ling, you have an English language center. I know Kelvin doesn't, in Kalamazoo Valley doesn't, but Ling's school does. And so if you're not up to the standard that our school needs you to be, then you can start the language program at Ling's school and either stay at Central or transfer out to another school as well.
Correct.
That's right.
So whether you have English or not, if you're interested in any of the schools in Michigan, we're here to help. So I did notice someone mentioned the psychology. So CMU does have a really good psychology program for undergraduate and all the way to PhD. So it depends on the level of the program that you're interested. Of course, the requirements are going to be very different. So for undergraduate psychology programs, they're fairly simple. You just apply and be admitted and you are good. However, for graduate, it's a little bit more complicated. There are really hard deadlines that you need to follow, and you have to reach out to the program and hopefully get a faculty that is willing to take you in.
Yeah, I think we each have psychology programs of some form. So that's a good question, including the ability again to be able to do a 2+2 transfer program in that field.
I did, there was a question specifically about Kelvin University's application fee waiver code, and I did just put that in the chat for those of you that are interested. You can still apply for free up until January 1. But if you do happen to apply after January 1, the code is 1876. And that can get you a free application. Ling, I think that, do you have a period of time where your application is free? I can't remember.
Yes, we did, but unfortunately that date has passed. So we do not have any waivers for now.
There's a question about law jobs in the state of Michigan compared with New York. I know Ling and I, both of our schools both have pre-law. In order to practice law, you do need to go on after your bachelor's to a graduate program, and in some cases a doctorate program. But you do have to get your law degree, it's called. So I'm not quite sure, Ling, if that is a program. Do you have a law degree
Yeah, we do
after
have
true law?
Yeah, we do have actually undergraduate law degree under political science and also under business. However, Tara, you are right. So for you to practice, you have to go for graduate programs, and which Kelvin and CMU are happy to. I'm sure with Kelvin as well. There's an office on campus that will help you to apply for law grad school.
That's a really good, I think, segue into a question Marcus has about the difference between undergraduate and higher level. And that might mean a couple of things. So Marcus, if you can correct me if I'm not answering exactly what you're asking, but the undergraduate system in the United States would be everything through a bachelor's degree. Okay, so an associate degree from a community college would be considered undergraduate, but so would all 4 years of a bachelor's degree program. Sometimes within undergraduate, you will hear about lower level and upper level, or sometimes 100 or 1000 level compared to 3000 level or 300 level, something like that. And so generally speaking, what's instructed at a community college would be considered the lower level of that, and then a higher level still within undergraduate would be generally what's taken in the last couple of years of a bachelor's degree. The other distinction then would be graduate programs would be, for example, master's and doctoral degrees, medical degrees, law degrees that would be earned after receiving a bachelor's degree. Great question.
And Tara, there was a question about the faculty who are 100% Christians.
Yeah, I'm gonna say apologize because that's not a requirement anymore, but we are a Christian liberal arts institution, as I mentioned earlier. And previously it was a requirement for a faculty to be 100% of faith, and that requirement is no longer there. So I apologize, I should have omitted that from the slide. I apologize, but I don't, because we are a Christian school. That sounds odd.
And most of the private school, even though they are faculty, are required to be a Christian, but a lot of times they don't have that kind of requirement for students. So that's a very good question. Make sure you reach out and ask the school. I think in the US, I used to work for a small private institution, and they are not required to. It used to be a Christian college. But then the faculty are not required, or staff were not required to be a Christian, and for sure the student are not. So make sure you reach out.
Yeah, thank you, Ling, for bringing that up too, because I do want to point out that is a very good point. There are many Christian universities within the state of Michigan. And so it is a good question to ask, what would be like required of you as a student? We have many students who are not Christians at the school as well. Things such as chapel, and they're not required of the student to attend. It's literally wherever you are in your faith.
I noticed there's a question asking about have a bachelor's in business, but I want to do graduate program in computer science. So at the Central Michigan University, it depends on the courses that you have taken for your undergraduate. They might need you to take some prerequisite, which means additional computer science courses for undergraduate before you can be. Well, you can still be admitted, but that's just additional computer science courses that you have to take.
The other question,
Yeah.
there's
Yes,
there's
and
another
this-
question too
And
about
this question, sorry for interrupting. The person asks, how does it work? So I think it works like this: that the student sends transcripts to the university, and they then evaluate what courses did you attend during your studies, and they then decide if you need to do more courses connected to, let's say, computer sciences. Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of times, you know, when you apply, very few graduate programs are, you know, offering auto admission, which means those files need to be sent to the individual graduate programs, and the faculty will review and make a decision. When you apply for undergraduate, very likely, you know, like for Chris, for Tara and I, we review it and we can make a decision. However, for graduate programs, if you apply, we can help you to complete your application, but we have to forward your file to the department to make a decision. So you are right, the department will take a look at your undergraduate transcripts and decide whether you will be a good candidate for their program. So computer science could say, well, no, you are not even close. We cannot offer admission. Then they will let you know. Or if they see there's a great potentials, however, you do need some computer science courses before you will be, you know, you will be, I shouldn't say eligible, but for lacking of better words, to take, you know, graduate level courses. I hope this makes sense. And I noticed someone did ask, could you apply for graduate school if you have associate degree? Probably not. So let's say if you go to Chris Community College and get associate degree. So for you to go to a graduate program at Kelvin or at Central Michigan University, you have to transfer to either Kelvin or Central Michigan University and complete your bachelor's degree. That means you have to do another additional 2 years. And once you have a bachelor's degree, then you are eligible to apply for graduate programs.
So some other questions?
So we do have our contact information up on the slide on the screen for all of our schools. Feel free to reach out and ask us any additional questions that you may have.
And we are recording this session, so I will be able to share the recording with all of you who registered. I think if you would send me the slides, I would share the slides with registered students as well. Okay, so if there are no questions, so thank you for joining us. It was a really interesting session, at least for me, and from seeing the questions, I am sure that also for students, it was an interesting and useful session. So Tara, Christopher, Link, thank you so much for joining us. And I wish you a white Christmas in Michigan.
Thanks for having us. All the best for you.
And see you next year. Yes.
Yes.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you very much.
Thank you. Have a happy holiday.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.